What's going on, everybody? Welcome inside of the Casual Sports Report podcast. Today, I'm your host, Mike Wolfgang, alongside
Matt Morrison
and Alec Cabrera. Make sure to check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. We're there. Then on social media, Casual Sports Report on Instagram and Twitter. Matt, what's on the agenda for today?
You mean Mike?
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, Mike, Matt, whatever.
All right, so today we're going to get into baseball. We finally have a World Series matchup with the Rays and the Dodgers. What are we going to go first, college football or NFL?
We're going Major League Baseball, NFL, then we're going to wrap it up with college football and our first ever CSR Top 12 rankings release live on this show here today.
All right, so let's get into baseball here. Like I said, we have a matchup in the World Series. The Rays and the Dodgers are going to get underway tomorrow night. But Saturday night, the ALCS wrapped up with the Rays and the Astros. So the Rays, they made it look fairly easy, taking the first three games, jumping out to 3-0 lead, and then Astros stormed back and took the next three to get forced to Game 7 on Saturday night.
Yeah, that entire series was crazy.
It was crazy.
You know, I think last week on the podcast, we may have jinxed it a little bit during my Games of the Week segment. I was like, I don't no point in watching these ALCS and NLCS games. It's over, right? Nope. Guess we were wrong. I guess I was wrong.
Both series were good. I mean, they both
Right.
won 7 games. I mean, the last night with the National League, we'll get into that after this one. But so in Game 7, the Rays veteran ace Charlie Morton took the ball against the Astros righty Lance McCullers. Randy Arozarena for the Rays continues his hot month that he's been on. Homering in the first inning in Game 7. Then Mike Zunino added on with a solo shot in the second inning, making the score 3-0 Tampa. Houston came back, but they fell short. So Houston took the Game 7, and they moved on to their second World Series appearance, their first since the 2008 series when they lost to the Phillies. So what do you guys think about this Rays team? Or that whole series as a whole?
I mean, the Rays team, they look good. They've been playing good. They're impressive. Obviously, we know now that they can close out in close game situations. They were kind of, I don't want to say the favorites, but they were one of them. I mean, they're best team in baseball right now.
They have
in the AL. I mean,
yeah,
best team in baseball all season long. Best record to prove it. I mean, they were beating the Yankees, and people were still taking the Yankees over them. They've proved all the haters wrong right now.
I mean,
that's what they're doing.
You can make an argument that during the regular season they were better than the Dodgers, but they just weren't getting the attention because they're at Tampa and they don't have as many household names as Dodgers. But do you have any takeaways from this year?
this Rays team is definitely stacked. I mean, Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow on that team there, and I like Jimon Choi as well. I think they have a decent chance.
They have a sneaky good lineup, and like you just said with their pitchers, and then Charlie Morton thrown in there. I mean, they have a 3-hitter monster with their starting rotation, and their lineups just fill with a bunch of young, or not young, kind of young guys, but the guys that just they play good in their roles. I mean, they're not household names, but the Rays serve an example of finding guys. They develop guys and make the right trades. They get the right returns in their trades. And that's where all these guys come from in their lineup. So I mean, they mesh well together, and they're looking good going into the World Series.
I also like Yandy Diaz on that team as well.
Of course you would.
Played for the Indians. Pretty good.
He's been playing well.
He's a pretty good guy.
He's been playing well.
Question is, though, who's the favorite going into the World Series matchup? Rays, Dodgers, both basically the same regular season records.
I'm going to go into the prediction I had going into the playoffs. So I originally had the Rays and the Cubs, so the Cubs got eliminated. But I'm not going to give my prediction yet, but I picked the Rays to win it all, and they're looking good. They're looking good.
I think it's a solid pick.
I think the favorites are the Dodgers, but you can never count out the underdogs.
The Dodgers are definitely the favorite.
No, they're definitely favorites.
I just want everybody to know that I did take a picture of when I wrote out my full bracket. I did pick the Dodgers taking on the Rays in the World Series.
Yeah.
So I just want to know that I got both the NBA and the World Series correct.
All right.
Just had to put that out there a little bit.
Mostly everybody had the Lakers winning, so let's be fair.
Right. I mean, but I was one of the guys to pick the Heat to go there.
You did.
It was a dark horse.
Yeah, well, they were my dark horse.
But you stuck with them.
I stuck with them the whole time.
But,
Especially after they dominated the Pacers, but back to baseball.
Well, a lot of people dominate the Pacers, but
Yeah.
All right, so the NLCS finished up
Yeah.
last night. What a game 7 that was. You guys watched it?
Yeah,
Oh my
watched the
god, that
whole
was
thing.
insane. Hold on, before we start talking about it, can I just say you guys are the worst baseball fans of all time?
Wait,
Listen,
wait,
no,
listen.
no, let me
When you're
explain why.
done-
Can I
wait,
explain
wait,
why?
wait, 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 wait.
Can I explain why?
Wait, before you go any further, hold
before
this.
you go, no, I want to say this.
No, I have to get something. I have to get back to something here.
Well, he was the one saying, "Oh, Dodgers have this one and that one." I was just saying, like, "Oh crap, I hope not."
Well,
Like, you
here's
tied us both in here. Like, this is Mike.
here's another argument I missed over on the American League side. So in Game 7, when the Rays pulled Charlie Morton after giving up one hit in the 6th inning, and like 66 pitches you had. There was guys on 1st and 3rd with 2 outs, and they pulled them after 66 pitches and 1 hit given up. What do you guys think about that? I mean, they don't let starters go farther anymore in the games. I mean, they brought in a reliever, and it worked out because they got out at the end of the inning, but
Yeah.
Right. Leave him in.
the pitch count was so low, and he was
66
dominating.
pitches? Are you kidding me? Starting
Yeah.
pitchers used to go 120.
Yeah.
Starting pitchers used to pitch the full games. Now we're taking them out after 4.5 innings because the score is 2-2.
He was
You
dominating.
kidding me? No. Leave in the starter. Well, if he puts himself into a mess, let him get out of it. That's what you're paying him the big bucks for.
And it-
You know, you're
Yeah.
paying him the most money because he's supposed to give you 6 innings.
Yeah.
The reliever's supposed to come in and get you 2-3 outs maybe in 1 inning.
And listen to things on the game last night between the Braves and Dodgers. They were kind of talking about during the broadcast, like they just don't. Like John Smoltz was talking. He's like, when I was starting in the playoffs,
Smoltz.
I used to go like 7-8 innings in a playoff game.
Yeah.
These guys go like 5-6 innings,
Right.
and they're your top line starters, and they're dominating games. You're taking them out early. I mean, it ended up paying off for the Rays, but I mean,
Of course, they had.
It's
John
not always gonna work.
Smoltz. Of course, they had Smoltz on that color commentator roster. I mean, the Braves
yeah.
formerly played for them. Oh God, that guy threw
Oh
rocks.
yeah, with that staff they had. But where are you gonna go last night?
All right, so you guys are some of the worst
Listen,
baseball fans ever. Let me explain why, and then you can give me your listen, all
I'll
right?
explain myself when I'm done.
So,
I'll explain myself.
4th inning, let me find out in our group chat. You guys were just talking. Braves got to get at least 1 run out of this, and I was like, yeah.
the score was 3-2,
yeah.
correct?
Yeah, score was 3-2.
They
They're in
had
position to get 1. There goes that. That's going to cost them the game.
It
That-
did.
That's going to cost them the game. That was at 9:51.
What did I say?
Then, a word we can't put on the show.
Oh yeah,
Begins with SH and ends with IT.
yeah. I didn't say. That doesn't mean I was agreeing with them. I was just saying no.
How about
Crap.
the-
Yeah.
But
okay,
you did agree that they had to get at least 1 run.
They
Yeah,
had to
we
get
all
at
do
least.
that.
Oh, they had.
That's
to get
not
at
even
least
the
one
only
run.
time. So then, 17 minutes later, Mike puts in the chat, here's the game. 17 minutes later.
And what
But
did
it
I
was a
say?
game.
I said I hope not.
Yeah, you said I hope not. So the Mike's the worst guy, not
Yeah,
you.
we not out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you said
Then
you
3 minutes
guys,
later, you go, got him. Then he goes, F yeah.
that was a great. That was a.
Is there
whole
any more? Can I
situation.
explain myself?
No, that's it. That's when you wrap
All right,
up.
so I started
See.
saying that when the Braves blew it when they got in a pickle between 3rd and home, and they got, I forget who the runner was. I think it was Swanson. He got thrown out. Then the runner on 2nd was running to 3rd. He didn't even have to go to 3rd, and he got tagged out. So that was the end of the inning. Or no, wait, that was 2 outs, I think. Then they got a strikeout, but that was the game because what are you doing here?
Oh, keep going.
That was the game because, like they were saying on the broadcast, the Dodgers are so good. I mean, and when you flip the script and they're batting, they just don't give you. They make you throw strikes,
Right.
and they're so good defensively.
We all agree that. But at
But
the same
that's why I
time,
was
it was
saying
the
it was over.
4th inning.
Yeah.
It's a 1-point
Yeah, I'm
game,
gonna
and the
go back.
Dodgers have already shown once that they scored 11 runs in an
Wasn't
inning.
I right? They ended up winning the game.
They ended up winning the game, but not because of that. It came from a Cody
That was
Bellinger
big.
home run
Yeah.
like
I wanna
3
go
innings,
back.
4 innings
What
later.
was the final score? 4-3.
4-3, yeah.
If the Braves would have got a run out of that, like I said, at least 1,
They
it would be
got-
different.
They
We're
got.
talking about- okay, we can say that in any
Whoa, whoa,
series
whoa.
ever. If they just score 1 more run, we're talking about a completely different game.
They should have had one more run, but Mookie Betts has had to make that freaking.
Yeah,
catch.
and then he robbed that home. Well,
Oh
anybody
God,
does
I
that.
was
Mookie,
so
that was a great
mad.
play by Mookie.
Oh, it was a
That
great,
was amazing.
great play, but I was so mad. Oh God,
Freddie Freeman.
Freddie
got
Freeman
robbed.
is like my. Oh God.
But still, if they would have got a run, I know I don't want to play the if games.
Yeah.
I'm on the same
Because
boat
we
as
can
you.
do that in every
I know,
single
I
game.
agree with that. But
um,
in that time when I was saying they had to get at least a run, and I know it was early, but that mattered.
Yeah.
the first pitcher they had.
That's
But,
all I'm
but
saying.
every run matters. Every time they had so
And when
many,
you get-
they had so many opportunities with guys on base. You can't say it was that one moment that cost.
That
them
was a
the game.
momentum shifter. And you give the Dodgers momentum, they're not going to blow it.
Almost
What you
did
guys were talking about leaving a starting pitcher and that guy they brought in first, Dustin May. I do believe they should have taken him out. The guy.
He started the game too.
Yeah, he started the game.
Threw like eight straight balls. I think.
Yeah, and they were hitting off him too.
And they only got a run out of that. So that's
idea.
Atlanta's fault. They should have got more than one run there.
Yeah, they should have.
I don't know. I mean, like, I know what you're saying. Anything happens in baseball, and I believe that, but
I mean, like, every inning is a completely different ball game.
I know, but when you give the Dodgers, they could in the first
any
inning,
team
game
can
3.
explode in any inning. We've seen it from just about every team around the league besides the Pirates this year.
Well, yeah, there's some
And the Indians.
Okay, no, the Indians have had a few innings where they just went,
Yeah,
we're
like
scoring
one every
13 runs tonight.
Yeah.
One every 20 games.
Yeah.
Right,
One
and then
every
the next
20
game they
games.
scored 0 for the next 5.
Right.
So
That's all I was trying to
Yeah.
say. I thought the Dodgers were going to win the game anyways.
No, I thought the Braves.
I wanted the Braves to
I
win.
wanted the
but
Braves so bad. I don't know if you guys watched the whole game, but at the end there,
I had it on the whole
I went
time.
back and forth, but
but there's like 2 outs and everything. They just showed that whole Braves out there just sitting in there like, oh my god. Like they showed Freddie Freeman sitting
well, they knew
there.
it was over.
Interesting
God,
thing
yeah.
to look out for, though, going into the
Yeah.
World Series, Cody Bellinger's shoulder.
Yeah.
In his celebration after his
Yeah.
game-winning home run, the 7th inning?
Yeah.
I believe
He
so, yeah.
popped his shoulder out, celebrating with his teammate there. Interesting to look out for. How does that affect his
Him,
hitting
2
going into the
big
World
home
Series?
runs. Holy cow.
That too, and he
That
hasn't played
second
well
one,
in the playoffs at all.
that second one he hit, he just stood there and watched it go. And
Last
that
couple
kind of
years-
made me mad.
Yeah.
But
Last couple years they've been in, or that he's been in the league and they've made the playoffs. He hasn't really done a whole lot, and especially in this playoffs. I mean, he had that home run last night, but he hasn't been dominant as we all expect him to be.
they're coming in this World Series looking to take it quick. But they can't really underestimate this Rays team. I mean, they did to the Braves and they had to play catch up. So
I mean, as we
Braves
talk,
are up 3-1 and they blew it.
as we talk about the first 3 games of this series, I mean, you would imagine the Rays rotations. I don't know what order, but it's at least going to be Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, and Charlie Morton. That's 3 very good starters to go into it. Then the Dodgers. I mean, you would think out of the first 3 games, Clayton Kershaw would start a game. He's been iffy in the playoffs his whole career. They're only one probably. This guy they could depend on is probably Walker Buehler.
Yeah, Walker Buehler.
I can't remember the other starter, but so right there, the first 3 games, the Rays have the advantage, pitching wise. But lineup wise and depth wise, the advantage goes to the Dodgers. Bullpen probably goes to the Dodgers on that too. But
Yeah,
I mean,
that Urias.
But we do know
Yeah.
one thing about the Dodgers in the
Oh, Joe Kelly.
postseason. They choke.
they do choke.
They choke.
Yeah,
They
they
play
choke.
great. They play great. They play, and then they stop. They just stop.
Most notably,
Much like the
Kershaw.
Astros did. Astros had a great postseason. They ended up showing a little bit of something and pushing it to Game 7 against the Rays, and they just stopped again.
I mean, I picked the Rays to go to the World Series, but when I saw the matchup in the ALCS of them playing the Rays, like Astros were on a run. I thought they could have won the series, and they almost did.
Almost did. But we saw it with those guys. We know they get a little bit cold. It ended up affecting them a little bit in Game 7. Then we know the Dodgers, they keep getting to the promised land, but then just tripping up right beforehand.
Yeah.
It's hard to put the money on them winning it
Until they do it.
Until they do it.
Yeah.
It's just like what we've said with a bunch of other leagues. Until somebody else proves it wrong, it still runs through whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bet on the Browns winning a football game until I see them have a winning season.
And the thing about the Dodgers, like, we see year after year they blow it, and then we
Like
think,
other Browns fans.
right.
I've got a story about that later.
0-16 coming back with the Super Bowl next season.
What, the Browns?
Yeah, that's what most Browns fans
Oh,
are.
well,
like.
You have to
I'm gonna
be- you have
talk
to be
about.
happy
I
with
have a
something.
story for later, but let's
Oh,
keep
great.
going baseball.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, with the Dodgers, I mean, we see, year after year in the past couple years, they disappoint in the playoffs, and then we think next year, they're going to win it all. They're going to be pissed off about it, and they're just going to come off and win, but they don't do it. And then we saw the Rays last year. We didn't think we thought it was just good for them to be in the playoffs last year, but they lost them to the Astros in the division series. So they weren't happy about that. So they come in and they made some moves, and they're clicking with the guys they have. So I don't know who we're gonna see them come out with an urgency to win, as so the Dodgers, as we should see them. Because really, the Dodgers, as we said, they're probably the favorite, and they should win the series.
Yeah.
But you never know.
I want the Rays. I want to see. I always go for the underdog. I like seeing the upset.
And they have a solid team, so it should be a good
Let's
series.
make predictions then. We like our predictions on this show. Let's make it
I'll go first.
Rays, Dodgers, 2020 COVID World Series.
So as I picked, I did have the Rays going to the World Series. I had them playing the Cubs, but I picked them to win the World Series, so I'm going to stick with them. I'm going to go Rays in 7.
I'll go next because Matt's the only one that really hasn't talked about his picks. Rays, Dodgers, so I might as well stick with the picks that I made. It's gotten me this far. So I'll stick with my Dodgers in 6 is what I'll go with.
I can't really remember the picks I made. I'm
I don't
pretty
remember
sure
yours either.
I think I picked Dodgers versus Rays.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I think you did have the Rays.
I gotta go. Who'd you pick?
I picked Dodgers in 6. He picked Rays in 7.
Yeah.
Are you going to be the one that goes low this time? I'm normally the one that goes lower.
Because it could be a low series. It could.
It could be.
No, I'm gonna
Dodgers.
go-
Either one can really take this in
It
5.
could.
I'm gonna go. I'll go Rays in 6.
I was kind of going Rays in 6, but I don't know.
It's a dangerous game we're playing here.
So
I think they'll catch them napping.
another thing about Tampa sports, they're on fire right now.
Yeah.
Lightning won
Tampa Bay Lightning.
Stanley Cup. They're going to the World Series,
So-
and Buccaneers are
Both
going to
teams-
get
Same thing about Los
Both,
Angeles.
yeah,
Same
I was just
about
about
LA.
to
I
say,
was gonna
both
say
teams
that.
that are in it, the city already has a championship.
Yeah,
Lakers
that's crazy.
and then the Lightning.
Right. And then if you just go with Florida, then you know the Miami Heat were in the finals
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
What
So-
was the Stanley Cup matchup? That was Dallas, right?
They
That
played
was
Dallas,
Dallas
right?
versus Tampa Bay.
Yeah, so this is going to be a good series. I mean, it starts tomorrow night.
I'm gonna watch.
I don't know if the pitching's announced yet, but or the
I don't-
lineups, but
I don't know if it's been announced yet at all.
yeah. So we'll stay tuned for that. But it'll be a good series. So we're going to shift now to what?
We do actually got some breaking news. This came out just before the podcast. Leighton Vander Esch for the Cowboys is expected to play tonight and has
Good.
activated on the 53-man roster. Don't know how much he'll be involved in the game plan. That's a huge factor on the defense
Don't
for the
know if
Cowboys.
he'll start either.
Right.
Yeah,
But that's good. Just even if he plays at all, you're going to need him against Kyler Murray in the Cardinals' offense.
you're going to need
But
the
also
defense
for the
to step.
Cowboys, you just lost one of your offensive linemen. Cam Irving is now on the COVID-19 list.
Yeah, that's a big loss.
It's a big loss on your O-line, but
As
you
a-
guys
but
should
as
be
I-
able to work. Defense for the Cardinals isn't fantastic. They got a decent line with Chandler Jones.
Yeah,
He's obviously one of the best, if not the best, interior defensive lineman in the entire league right now. He can give you guys some issues.
yeah. I mean, as I've said, I don't think the Cowboys' problems aren't offensively. They have to be able to stop somebody. And
Well,
this is a tough task.
Re-addition of Leighton Vander Esch is going to help that
It's
a lot.
gonna
He's
help.
at least a leader on your defensive
He is,
side, if
and
not.
He's great.
Just
He's
to have
a
him
great
there is gonna be
player.
good.
He gets hurt a lot, and
Yeah.
He does, and just to have him there is
What
gonna be
you
good.
need though is a leader on that defensive side of the football. Hopefully, he can provide that for him.
Yeah, and you know, Arizona's not on a great level, but offensively they can put up points, and if they can't stop that tonight, they're gonna have a hard time winning this game, and they have a hard time staying in it. Because, like I said, it's not offensively their problems; they just cannot stop anybody,
Right.
and I just don't understand it. Like I've said, they have the same personnel on their defense that they've had for the past 2-3 years, and it's just falling apart. So.
Well, let's get into the slate of action from this past weekend. A lot of great games. A lot of not so great games.
that's a new one.
I mean, it wasn't a great game. It was a
You guys
wanna go to
that right now, or-
one-sided game.
Yeah.
You want to jump?
We're
in
talking
right
about the
now?
Browns
Yeah.
Steelers. Yeah, go ahead. Let's talk about this. I'll start it
So-
off. You started off discussion last week on the
Yeah,
Browns
go
Steelers.
ahead.
I'll go this time. A lot of people are going to try and place this loss on Baker Mayfield. Well, he didn't play great.
We knew he wasn't healthy coming in
Yeah,
too.
we knew he wasn't healthy going into it. His ribs, you could clearly see they were not 100%. He was wincing. And the Steelers brought a lot of pressure. The offensive line of the Browns could just flat out not handle them a single time.
No.
They couldn't run the football. And I said this last week on the podcast.
They didn't want to run the football at the beginning.
Right. I said this last week on the podcast. If the Browns run the ball, I give them the game. If they could control that offensive line of scrimmage and run the ball, they could win the game. They
They did the
didn't do
exact
that, and they
opposite.
lost.
Yep.
And then I was also right with my prediction on this game wasn't going to be close. My score was off by quite a bit,
What'd you say
mind you
your
that.
score?
Originally, I said 34-20, then I went 31-20. You guys, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. The secondary, much like I've been talking about the Browns this
Yeah.
whole season, secondary was awful. Chase Claypool's a god among men out there.
What, the last
I
two
wasn't-
games, especially, what
Yeah.
run has
So-
he been on? He's just
Oh, yeah.
So what,
dominating.
4
Great.
touchdowns, 3 touchdowns this week?
3
Yeah, and
touchdowns.
then 4 last week.
Yeah. So 7 touchdowns, 2 games. Fantastic. A god amongst boys out there is what it seems like. I wasn't high on him when you guys picked him. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I was so.
Well, it's somebody they wanted too.
Yeah.
I was so obsessed with them picking
J.K.
Dobbins.
Dobbins. Yeah, you wanted Dobbins bad. Claypool though turns out.
Claypool was like, whew.
And they were saying on the
That's
broadcast yesterday, like they asked
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin, like, how long did it take you guys to decide you wanted him? He's like, about 10 seconds. They should
Right.
sent the pick and we wanted him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
somebody they
Chase
want.
Claypool, Mapletron, or Air,
Yeah, that's
Air
what they're-
Canada as two
Well,
of
he
his
said-
nicknames.
Well, he said that Air Canada was already taken by
Air
Vince.
Canada's
so,
Vince Carter's, yeah. But they said different sports, so
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
I
like
was talking
Mapletron.
about
I might end up getting a Claypool jersey.
He's a likable guy so far.
what?
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 The only time I don't root for the Steelers is when they face the Browns. You guys act like I've been hating on the Steelers this entire season. I'm like,
I want a Claypool jersey.
the past 2 years, all my roommates have been
I either
Steelers
want-
fans.
Either I
Okay,
want Claypool,
my mom's a Steelers fan.
Really?
Yes.
I either want Claypool.
So you're all by yourself, man.
I either want Claypool or Bud Dupree jersey. I don't know yet. I might get Claypool.
Yeah,
I
Devin
get too
Bush
many-
though tore
I
his
get too
ACL in
many-
that game.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Odell Beckham started acting like a 5-year-old over on the sideline.
Nothing new with that.
Took off his shoes, threw his helmet down, started yelling at people.
He's
He's
getting-
clearly not a leader.
Getting in fights with fans when there's like
Yeah.
6,000 fans there.
Right. It's amazing. One guy can pick a fight with guys, 20 rows above him.
Yeah.
Ridiculous
But,
performance.
it's nothing new.
I'm not done with this
Okay,
yet.
keep going.
Secondary
Yeah,
was,
let him
was awful. That Browns secondary is trash. Besides Denzel Ward, I think he's the one guy that didn't get beat deep at some point. Sendejo for the Browns might be the worst corner I've ever seen in football. Terrence Mitchell, he's normally good. He got destroyed by Claypool, though.
Yeah.
Much like I called this last week, it was going to be Mitchell and Denzel covering Claypool most of the game. That didn't end up being the case. It was Mitchell most of the time, few on Denzel. But most of those plays that Claypool broke big, it was over Mitchell.
Yep.
He just has the size, the speed advantage over just about anybody else out there. And then
That definitely
even on
showed.
special teams, the Browns just really couldn't do much of anything. They got Donovan Peoples-Jones back there now for the punt returns. He's not doing anything. I think he was
For Michigan,
averaging
what do you
like
expect?
7 yards per return or something. That game, it was embarrassing to watch. That in total team performance was bad.
Yeah, it was just bad all around.
I don't think, and I didn't like most of the play calling in the game either. Kevin Stefanski, we've had a great past 3 weeks. So we had the Ravens loss and the Steelers loss.
Yep.
Every game in between those were phenomenally play called and executed. Keep in mind, Browns were without Nick Chubb this time, but that's no excuse for the rest of the
And you
team
still
to
have
not
Kareem Hunt.
perform. Right. We still had a Pro Bowl caliber running back there. Our offensive line just got dominated, and that's a props to the Steelers' defense. That Steelers' defense might be the best best defense in Steelers history.
Our secondary finally came around too
Yeah.
with Sutton getting an interception and now
Some of your interceptions came off just the pressure your defensive line
Yeah.
was
Baker
bringing
just-
onto
Yeah.
it.
The one Baker just threw into
Yeah.
traffic, so it was just.
yeah,
It's
just
just
Sutton-
somewhere.
He was just
yeah.
trying to roll out of the pocket and
Just
just
get rid of
launch
it.
one. I called
Yeah.
that before. Like it
Sutton-
left his hand out. That's gonna be
That's the
picked,
one
and it
Sutton.
did.
That's the one
Yeah.
that Sutton picked off, but the
Yeah.
one Minka picked off.
The
he
Minka
watched-
one was. Well,
Oh man,
I don't know what it was. Like watching the replay, I can kind of see how Baker missed him in his
he
read.
was acting
Came
as a
across on
spy.
the came across on the slant.
He just
Baker
came out,
released
yeah.
it.
Boom.
Minka just took one step and boom right into his gullet. You know.
So you think it's more so that the Steelers were just dominating, or do you think the Browns just kind of
Steelers
weren't
Steelers-
showing effort?
Steelers dominated.
Steelers
I mean, it's
dominated.
flat out. There was nothing the Browns could do right in that game. Part of that comes down to play calling. Some comes down to execution. Most of it, I think, comes down to you just got outplayed.
It did.
The other team came to play. We know the Steelers dominate the Browns. They've done it past 17 years. Let me pull Ben
Yeah.
Roethlisberger. I got his record
I
right
think it's
here.
like 22-2-1,
I get it.
something like that.
Yeah, I just sent it to Matt earlier.
I don't know if that was
24-2-1.
Yeah.
The Bro-
okay.
Career record versus the Browns.
Steelers record against the Browns is 17-0 since
17 at home.
At home.
at home.
Yeah.
And that's
Since-
Mike Tomlin's record too. Since
Yeah,
he's been
since
there.
Yeah.
like 99. I don't know what it was, but
It may have been since the return.
it might have been.
Yeah, I
since
think it was like
return.
03 or something like that.
Yeah. But play calling, I didn't like the play calling in that game either. We completely went away from the offense, as I was saying. Those past 3 games were phenomenal. The offense worked like a charm, and the play calling was on.
I mean, they were putting up like 40 points the last couple
Right.
games.
Baker was able to find Hooper, Odell, Jarvis whenever he wanted to because our offensive line could offer some protection.
Yeah.
Now teams are going to see that if we blitz, this offensive line crumbles. like Red Lobster's cheddar biscuits. I mean, it was just anytime you guys sent pressure yesterday, the offensive line went, "Hey, I'm get out the way." It was like it was ridiculous to watch, and then
So it was, I mean, the guys like Watt, they were just flying off the line.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody was even touching them.
TJ, Bud Dupree, Cameron Hayward.
And part of my issue
They couldn't
is
stop them.
we know Kevin Stefanski's offense is based on a 2 tight end play action system. You can't run play action if you don't run the ball.
Yep.
And they didn't run the ball, so then they couldn't run play action. They stopped putting in 2 tight ends. It was just Austin Hooper out there, and they were running screens with him. We were in a screen play and lost 7 yards.
Yeah.
Drop the ball. Just drop it. It was. We ended up getting the first down afterwards. Jarvis Landry had like a 17-yard reception.
Yeah.
So whatever. But it was ridiculous. They completely went away from everything they've done leading into this game. And it ruined the entire season. Now people are going to start calling Browns, oh man, it was just a fluke. They won those games.
Maybe now it's they're see how they play as not an underdog, but see how people, how they play with people just kind of saying, oh, they're done. They played a good team.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's see how they play that way then.
People
I don't-
are
but
saying
people
the
are gonna
Browns suck now. I'm like,
They're still 4-2.
they're still
They're still
4-2.
They're still going to be
They
top
could-
15 in the power
they could
But
rankings.
the only thing I think what
Bengals
people are
next
saying
week.
is because they watched the 2 good teams they played.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Sorry. I mean, everybody that's faced those 2 have lost. The
No,
Steelers
you're
are
right.
undefeated. The only team the Ravens lost to was the Chiefs.
You're-
Sorry, the Browns lost to 2 of the best teams in the entire league.
You're right, and nobody expected them to win those games either.
Right. We
So-
lost one of them 38-6, the other one 38-7.
The fact, I mean, they're still 4 like you said.
Obviously,
They did better
there-
against Pittsburgh, man.
there's literally a fluke in Kevin Stefanski's play calling when he sees a good defense. He doesn't know how to
I
respond.
don't know how they're going to end up in that division because it's loaded at the top.
Oh,
They're
no.
screwed.
But
Their
just
best
to say
chance is
that
a wild card.
Just to say they're over, and that it's looking good. I mean, I know we're only 6 games in, but that's where they're probably going to end up at.
And you got Steelers got Murderers Row coming up. Obviously,
Yeah.
Browns, you took care of business there. But then you got the Titans
Titans.
and then Ravens coming up.
And then,
That's going to be dominating. Luckily, the Browns get a bounce back week against the Bengals. Can't take them lightly, but they faced them before.
You guys have like Dallas next week.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
Dallas as well.
It's in Dallas. I mean,
Yeah.
they probably will be.
They should take care of them, no
They
problem.
should.
Dallas has just been struggling, and I mean maybe Andy Dalton turns something around. You never know.
And you don't know because, like you said, with Andy Dalton coming in, you don't know if they pick something up by then. As as a new leader of the offense, you don't know if they get on a roll here. I mean, things should be different when they play the Steelers, but I know after his frustrations, I know you had to love it yesterday, Matt.
Oh
Yeah,
God, yeah. I was at work yesterday. I went up on my break, my lunch, half an hour lunch break, and it was 10-0.
That's when I
And by the
first turned
time
it on. Yeah.
by the time I came down, it was 24-0. I was like, dear God. All the Browns fans came into the store. I work at a grocery store. All the Browns fans came into the store with their jerseys and stuff on, saying, "Oh, we're gonna kick their butt." I heard some fans talking, "Oh, we're gonna win by a lot today."
Some Browns fans are just
Yeah.
the
You
worst.
gotta let some Browns
And I'm
fans go.
just
They're so
sick.
gullible.
I'm just standing back there, just taking it all in, and all the cashiers and stock boys are Browns fans. And I come down from my lunch, and I'm like 24-0, and they're like, "Hoo-hoo!" I'm like, Pittsburgh. I'm like, no. Yeah, well, what'd you expect?
To your point, some Brown fans
Yeah.
are stoned.
Some
I mean,
Browns
they're so
fans
gullible.
are good.
Anytime they get something to root for, they just get carried away. I mean,
Right.
it's
Yeah, but
it's reasonable.
What
enough.
did we expect? Well, honestly, realistically, what did the Browns fan base expect? We knew we weren't winning anything this year. This was supposed to be a year to show, is Baker Mayfield our quarterback going forward,
And we still
or do
don't
we
know.
need to pick somebody else up?
Yep.
I mean, that was
So-
the thing for this year. This year wasn't about making a deep playoff run. It would be, okay, cool, we made it to the playoffs. We knew
I mean,
that was
they can do it
yeah,
though.
we knew it was an unrealistic goal going in because we're in a division with the Ravens and the Steelers. And we knew Big Ben was coming back, and he looks pretty good.
Pretty good.
I mean, 5-0 so far. I mean,
5-0.
Six-
He's not his
yeah.
2018 self, but he's still Big Ben
He's
at
still
the end of
Big
the
Ben.
day.
he's close
So-
to it.
The
He
next-
took off on a run yesterday, gained
Yeah.
4 yards.
Just
It was
makes you
not a
laugh.
pretty run,
It
though.
just makes you laugh.
Oh my god, it was like watching an 80-year-old man try and start walking. It was just, oh
So-
god.
The next 3 games for Pittsburgh are they're in Tennessee, and then they gotta go play the Ravens, and then in Dallas as well.
It's a couple games,
So
tough
then
couple
they
games
got the
coming up.
Bengals and Jaguars, and then they gotta go play the Ravens again. That's Thanksgiving.
Speaking of that Titans team, what a win for them yesterday.
Yeah.
God.
Come back, I mean, they came back and they tied it up
That-
in overtime and then won it. Pretty easily in overtime.
Yeah. They gotta stop. They gotta stop that bull horse they got back there. Holy cow! I can't even think of his name.
Derrick
right now.
Henry.
Yeah, Derrick Henry. Holy
Ooh,
cow!
94 yards, clocked in at 21 miles an hour on his 94-yard run. That's his max
How
speed.
long? How fast?
21 miles an hour. He said it was too slow, though. He wants to go faster.
I mean, good for him.
Well,
I think last season,
well,
I
hopefully
think
he
it was
doesn't do it next
Lamar
year.
or Saquon was clocked at like 24 last
Yeah,
year.
I
So
believe
Derrick
it.
Henry wants to be faster.
Yeah, I believe it. But
Hopefully he doesn't do it against us.
I mean, Browns got a super easy next 5 games.
Yeah.
They take Bengals, Raiders going to be a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
We'll see how they
they're
go on
sneaky.
that one.
They're sneaky.
Yeah, then Texans, sneaky, but I think they should take care of them. Eagles, Jaguars, then they got to take the Titans, Ravens. But then they get to go back to the Giants, then the Jets, and they wrap up final week against the Steelers. Which we may see a different story by then if Nick Chubb's back, if Baker's fully healthy.
Yeah.
Maybe we get a few more guys on defense. We still got a few weeks to the trade deadline.
Well, as you said, with that easy schedule coming up, they're looking
Right.
like they're in decent shape.
I mean, I even if you count those good teams we're facing, so Steelers 1 loss, Ravens 1 loss, Titans 1 loss, 3 more losses on the season.
that puts them in 5 losses.
Right, 5 losses and
11
so
and
11 and 5. Are you kidding me? That's fantastic.
Take that and run.
Right.
If you would have said at the beginning of the season they're going to finish 11-5, I mean, great.
I said at the beginning of the season
Year.
7 and 9.
Yeah.
I said at the beginning you're just like talking, I was just being biased by a lot. I said, oh, Pittsburgh's going undefeated this year. No, they're 6-0.
I know. I only
like
picked them to go 9 and 7. I was wrong about this conference.
With the Steelers though,
About
like,
the
coming in, I
division.
just didn't know how good they were going to be. I mean, depending on
It all depended on Big Ben
that
Yeah.
was my thing.
because
Like,
we knew the defense was going to be
that
there.
was my thing.
Yeah.
Like last year, they were average with 2 average or not average. I mean, below average quarterbacks. So my only thing coming in was if you're just banking on Ben to come in and play. I mean, he's old, he's one of the
older,
older
30.
quarterbacks in the league, and I just didn't know if that was like. Him coming in and you're banking on them being good just on Ben. Like, I just didn't know if that was likely, and it has proved to been likely because they're just not. I mean, he's playing good for the age he's at, and he's surrounded by talented guys on both sides of the ball. So
He's 38. He's still playing pretty good. I mean, after that year last year, I think the injury was one of the best things for him. Maybe take
Gave him a
break.
year off, yeah.
And that's
Got a chance to not just rehab, but he was looking a little
Fat.
beer bellied.
Yeah.
And I think he cut down on a lot of that. I think he had a 6-pack going into spring practices before they all had to get closed.
And he was saying before,
6-pack of beer at home, but
Yeah.
6-pack on his chest.
and he was saying before the season, like, when it was getting underway. I mean, he said, that was his motivation to come back and play with these guys
Yeah.
because there's young guys all around him. He's the old head. in the
I mean,
locker
he
room.
saw how good that defense was. It was reminiscent of that 2008 team.
and they have weapons on offense. He said defense is good. And,
Palomalu and
Palamalu.
Ryan Clark.
Palamalu in the C gap.
Ryan Clark.
yeah, Ryan Clark.
Oh, man,
who
that
else
guy
do
was
they have?
great.
There's some
The
good
angel
guys.
of death.
James Harrison.
Yeah.
You guys heard the story from Pat McAfee, right? The angel of death in the C gap.
I haven't.
Oh, it was the one time Pat McAfee. They were
Pat McAfee's great, by the way.
Right.
I love Pat McAfee.
for those of you, if you want the better version of the story, go onto YouTube. Just type in Pat McAfee Palomalu. It should be the first one that pops up. But it's like 3 minutes long, and he was just saying we had practiced this one play in practice all season long. We were waiting for the moment to do it. It was like if we were at this certain yard line on this one hash, the ball was going to me, and I was gonna run it through the C gap into the end zone for a touchdown. 100%er every time, guaranteed. And the time came, and he was like, oh my god, it's happening, I'm gonna do it. So they line up for the play, and he goes out there, and he's scanning the defense just to make sure, like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he looks at Palamalu and goes, you're not supposed to be there. Palamalu just gives him a smile, and he just goes, I just immediately stood up and yelled, we're kicking the ball! We're kicking the ball! And then afterward, people were asking about it. It was just like, he walks back to the sideline, and coach was like, so what'd you see out there? I mean, good call change. Now, what'd you see? And he's like, what did I see? I saw the angel of death wind up in the C gap about to end my entire career. Greatest Pat McAfee story there is. I love it.
Pat McAfee's great.
Oh my god, my favorite broadcaster at the moment.
Yeah.
Pardon the interruption.
Hope that wasn't the TV in my roommate's room. That would have been awful.
All right, what do we got now?
And I mean, more NFL stuff. It was a big
Yeah.
weekend.
So,
Matt, you
some
got
of
the
games
scores
yesterday,
pulled
got
up?
scores pulled up?
Yeah, I just had it. I got it right.
Yeah, so we mentioned that Titans game. They come back winning in overtime.
Uh,
Bengals got their first win
Bengals-
over. Or no, they lost. I'm sorry.
they lost.
They were winning, but they blew it.
So, new news on Cam Irving. This is going on live. This is from Tom Pelissero. He hasn't tested positive for COVID, but he's not feeling well. That's why he was put on the reserve today, just in case.
Yes, I mean we saw that with OBJ wasn't feeling good last week,
Right.
was he? So just be safe with the way things are going. But
Yeah, I mean, they kind of just have to just stay out. We'll bring you back in when you feel good.
Yep.
The
I mean, there's-
Texan-Titan game was a
yeah.
lot closer than everybody else thought. 36-42. That ended in overtime.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That was just a crazy end to that ball game, right?
well, that touchdown almost didn't count because I thought he was out of bounds, but they
Yeah.
looked at it and they couldn't overturn it. So then they ended up winning overtime.
The Bengals almost pulled off a huge win against the Colts. They were leading, 24-0 early, but then 31-27 was the final score. They just blew that one late.
Bears holding off the Panthers.
Bears 5-1.
Yeah,
You
5-1,
guys
man.
surprised about that?
Oh,
or-
Yeah.
yeah. I'm kind of on that bandwagon just a tad. I like that Bears team with Nick Foles.
You know what really made my weekend, though? Browns lost, whatever. Oh, well.
That was the
Then
most.
Packers got blown out, which
Yeah,
is crazy.
Packers got
Yeah.
blown out.
But what made me happen, Washington lost again. I hope
But
that
what?
franchise doesn't win another football game for the next 20 years. They deserve to rot. And I mean this in a very literal sense. I hope that organization just falls apart and never does anything good ever again. I hope they can move Alex Smith somewhere where he can be successful.
Yeah.
But I just hope they suck forever.
And your boy Young, get him out of there.
Chase Young.
Yeah, get Chase Young, get Terry McLaurin, let those guys go elsewhere, trade Dwayne Haskins. Just send all those guys to the Browns, okay? Send
Or
those guys to
anywhere.
the Browns.
Cowboys will take him.
Cal, yeah, send them to the. I'd be fine with that. Put Zeke, Dwayne Haskins, Terry McLaurin, and Chase Young
Can you
all on the
imagine Chase
same
Young?
team.
Oh, that'd be
Oh,
nice.
man.
Oh my God! Talk about the greatest Cowboys defensive line of all time. That'd be insane. Nah, but I guess it's a great thing they moved on from Haskins because Kyle Allen is doing so much better. 31 for 42, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He literally threw the game away. Threw the game. He was getting sacked and just threw it straight at a defender who catches it and returns it for a pick 6.
It's just, I have nothing to say about that.
He sucks. That organization sucks. Ron Rivera sucks. I'm done with this organization. I'm done with the city.
You done
They
with
are a
this-
disgrace for football.
You done with this football team?
I'm done with the football team. I was riding high on the football team
Yeah.
going into the season. I love the name.
I got-
They started off 1-0. They were winning the NFC East, and everyone was
I
like,
got-
That's so hard to do, though.
football
I had a
team.
chance
And then,
to. I had a chance to go up there in the summertime. I went up to Washington D.C. On my way to my vacation.
yeah, for your
Yeah.
21st birthday.
Yeah, and all I saw up there were people repping Ravens jerseys, and Lamar Jackson.
Nobody
I mean,
cares about
Baltimore's,
Nobody
Baltimore's
cares.
right across
Yeah.
the river.
It's nobody cares about this Washington team at all.
They're irrelevant.
Yeah,
They're
they-
they're
they-
an embarrassment
like
to
the
your
city. We saw signs to the stadium like it's like 10 minutes away from downtown DC, and they're all
Nobody cares.
wearing Ravens jerseys. I saw a 12-year-old kid wearing a brand new J.K. Dobbins Ravens jersey,
Speaking of the Ravens, they almost blew it to the Eagles,
almost blew it.
30-28 in that
and
one.
that gives me some hope because Pittsburgh beat the Eagles by
Yeah, but you guys played down to their level too.
yeah
Which I
So-
said, Pittsburgh does do that a lot.
yeah
And Ravens, they blew a big lead.
Yeah.
They had a big one. They were
Yeah,
up like 22-0
yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then just kind of blew it
Vince
going down
came
the
back,
stretch.
Yeah.
So that was a good one coming down.
Um,
What other ones were there?
there wasn't
Lions
really
beat the Jags.
yeah
Dolphins dominated the Jets. We got to
Dolphins-
see the
you
debut
got-
of Tua.
Yeah, 2 time.
And how about the? I don't know if you guys saw that moment he had after the game.
He was
Yeah,
sitting
we
on
sit
the
on the
field
field.
afterward,
Yeah.
FaceTiming his family.
You gotta love that.
Sitting right on the 15-yard line where he almost had his career-ending injury for Alabama. He played at
You gotta
Alabama.
love
Yeah.
that for him. You gotta root for that kid.
Yeah.
You know,
Came
having
in, they only threw it twice, 2 for 2, 9 yards. It is what it is. That's not the big storyline. It was
Fits
Tua
it.
had his redemption moment.
I'm starting to get on this bandwagon a little bit too. The Dolphins are now 3-3 now. I'm looking at the.
Well, I don't know about this year, but
49ers finally picked up a big
Yeah,
win. They
it's about
much
time,
needed
yeah.
one.
They definitely
Took down the
did that.
Rams 24-16.
That's the next 3 for the Dolphins. They got to go play the Rams. That'll be a test there, and then they got to go play the Cardinals, and then they got to go play the Chargers, and then. So the
The
next
Chargers-
3 there.
I got a question. Are we reading into the Green Bay loss against the Buccaneers at all? It's like, is
Yeah.
this something we got to start looking at, or is this just
The
they
only
had to
thing
lose at
is-
some point?
Is Green Bay's defense? They were talking about on the broadcast.
Yeah.
That's something they're gonna have to start talking, or they're gonna start talking about this week, and they're just gonna have to start addressing because. I mean, you saw it last year in the NFC Championship game; they just got annihilated.
Mhm.
I mean, San Fran was doing whatever they wanted to, and that's kind of how it was yesterday with Tampa Bay. So they got to address their defense. I'm not too worried about.
Is this something we need to be concerned about the entire team going forward? I mean,
Not the entire team.
Aaron
but-
Rodgers had 2 picks. He hadn't
Yeah.
thrown a pick in the past 9 games.
And they had complete control over that game until the second interception. It was just they just flipped the script. Tampa Bay just took over. I'm not too worried about them, but as I said, they got to address their defense.
Yeah, I mean, they let up 34 points to the Vikings, 21 to the Lions, 30 to New Orleans, 16 to Atlanta, then 32 last night to Tampa Bay. I mean, they were 4-0 still.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we know they're all got to show it on the defensive side.
Yeah. In Tampa Bay, I mean, their offense is once they get it clicking, they're a Super Bowl contender.
Right?
And they got it going last night.
Yeah.
Then
We're
tonight
starting to
we got the Chiefs Bills. That's coming on.
That's
and
coming.
for us, 50 minutes. We record these on Mondays. So in 50 minutes, we got that game going on. What are your guys' thoughts for that one?
I think
You wanna go
it's
first or
Josh. It's Josh versus Pat. Everybody's been talking about that for a while. Who's got the who can throw the ball farther or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, I don't think it's going to be close.
I say Bills bring it to him, but I mean I like the Bills. I'm sure a little biased. I think the Chiefs will end up winning in the end. I say 31-24 Chiefs.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Not bad.
That's all the thing.
I got the Chiefs
You got
winning
the-
this one big. Right around 35-14. I took the Chiefs. I don't think the Bills got it all there on defense-wise. And we've seen this Chiefs team just expose everybody they faced.
Yeah.
I mean, we know even when they go
Including
against
Lamar.
the best quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson included, who's probably the most hard to game plan for quarterback, at least, because of his ability to go out of the pocket and make explosive plays on his own. We saw he was dominated. Lamar was dominated in that game.
Yeah.
They can prepare for just about anything else. Andy Reid's a genius who probably can give Bill Belichick a run for his money on his ability to game plan what he's got. Granted, I think we're all going to say the Chiefs have a way better team than I think maybe the Patriots ever did with the amount of talent-wise.
By
Yeah.
far, yeah.
I mean, Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill alone would be better than any wide receivers, talent and athleticism-wise, that the Patriots really have ever had,
Yeah.
besides Randy Moss. I mean, Edelman's great,
Oh, he is.
but he's not a speedster like Hill. He can't jump out of the building
And
like
he had to
Watkins.
get great too. Like
Yeah,
these
he had
guys
to
were
get
good
great.
coming into the Chiefs organization. They were
Right.
coming in good.
Bill Belichick goes out there, finds the nearest Walmart cashier, and turns him into a 5-star, wide
Yeah.
receiver. Edelman was a quarterback out of Kent State that got dominated. And Bill Belichick saw something there and went,
Yeah.
let's make a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And it paid off.
And it paid off great. The guy won Super Bowl MVP. Who would have thought that? But no, I don't think this one's going to be close to
No, I don't either. I got Chiefs by 2 touchdowns. I'm going to go 34-20.
Okay.
34-20.
Yeah,
Should be at least an interesting one for tonight.
should be.
That's,
the first
not,
one
that's not the
on
only
our
game we
there.
got on. Yeah, then there's the Cardinals taking on them boys.
You want me to
Them
just dive into
boys.
it now?
Go ahead, Mike. We got our Steelers
The
Browns.
Cowboys, they should win this game.
They should.
They should win this game, but
They should have won a lot of games.
I just don't. I don't trust their defense, but they should win. I think they're gonna win. I'm gonna go. I'm trying to think how many points because they put up points. I'm gonna go 31-20.
I say the Cardinals pull this one out. I say
I wouldn't be shocked.
20-13 Cardinals.
I'm going 31-28 to the Cardinals.
I wouldn't be shocked.
And I got a feeling Andy Dalton's going to work with this offense pretty well. He's pretty similar to Dak. So the offense is going to work,
The
Yeah,
Red
but the
Rocket.
defense is just going to pull
He's been just as
It's time.
Right.
He's
for
been
the
just as
Red
good throughout his
Rocket
career as Dak has
revival.
what?
throughout his career. He's been just as
Right.
good as Dak's been.
Playoff
Just-
quarterback,
He
let the
just hasn't won
Bengals-
any
Yeah.
playoff games.
I mean, the Bengals just started. I mean, they didn't give anybody around them, so
I mean,
they just started. The team just sucked. Period. I mean,
Right.
Andy Dalton
I know he hasn't
great.
won a playoff game, but he's been in the playoffs 5 times.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's got the experience you guys need going forward.
Bengals always
He's
used
got-
to beat Pittsburgh. Remember that?
I mean, statistically, he's pretty comparable to Dak. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
really losing anything on
No.
offense.
No.
He reminds
I'd rather
me.
have Dak, but
He reminds me a lot of back in the day when they had Troy Aikman and then Jason Garrett was the backup.
yeah,
That kind of reminds me a lot of that.
yeah. I mean, both redheads.
Yeah, yeah.
But
The Red Rocket.
yeah, the Cowboys should win. I think they're gonna win, but I wouldn't be
They
shocked if
should
they
win.
lose because they have problems.
Yeah.
Seriously, I mean,
They
and then you look at the coach.
They have
I mean,
problems.
I like McCarthy. I wasn't thrilled when they hired him, but it just doesn't. To me, it just doesn't matter who
He
coaches.
got a
the team.
Super Bowl.
They have to want to win. I mean, like I said, with this defense, they have the same guys that were part of that same defense 2 years ago that we all thought were so good.
Mhm.
They just don't. They're not putting in the effort
They're
right
not
now.
cooking.
I mean, you got guys saying like, oh, it's hard to go, all out on every play on defense for every snap in a game. I mean, that's what you're paid to do. That's what you're out there to do.
That's
go
why
stop
you
somebody.
made it to the NFL, is because you knew how to go hard on every single
listening
play.
to that comment, they just don't. It just feels like they don't want to try to be good on defense.
Right.
I mean, it's I don't know. And like I said, they have the personnel to do it. They have the talent on both sides of the ball.
You wouldn't be in the NFL if you couldn't play every single down to your best ability. That's why you're in the NFL. If you can't do it at the NFL, somebody else will. Somebody else is willing to take your spot.
That's it.
Because there's 500 guys in the NFL. There's another 15,000 willing to take your spot the moment you don't step up.
Yep.
The moment you stop trying is the moment somebody else will. The moment you lose your job.
As a fan of this team, I'm just so tired of hearing the thing, oh, well, they have the talent to be good. I don't know why they're not playing good. Well, it's one thing to have the talent, but they have to go out and want.
They don't want to be good. That's
They
it.
have to go out
They
and try to
think,
dominate.
they think they're so good. Then they go out there and play and get dominated
I mean,
because they think they're better than they are.
They're supposed to be the Chiefs of the NFC.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we've been waiting for since the beginning of last
You
year.
got the NFC is supposed to run through Dallas.
Hey, you guys are still winning your division.
I'm not even. Look, if they can
you
play
got a
back.
playoff spot.
Last year at the end
As
of the
long
year,
as you win it.
The guy I can think of right now, where you're talking about if you don't do your job, I don't want to say too much. Alex Smith with the Chiefs. I mean, did he get hurt? One pass?
Yeah, he got hurt.
He got hurt, and Mahomes take it.
Yeah.
That happened to him already once with the Niners. He got
Yeah.
hurt, and then Kaepernick took over. But that, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think
that's the right comparison.
That's not the right
I
comparison.
think the right comparison is
Like-
Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell. They stopped working because they thought they were the best there is. Then
well, but the thing with them,
the next man up stepped up and went, okay.
but the thing
James
with them
Conner
guys,
stepped up for the Steelers and went,
Oh, yeah.
you don't want to work? All right, that spot's mine.
Jamal Bell was still
Give
there.
me the contract you were going to give that loser.
But the thing
And
about
Le'Veon Bell
Juicy.
hasn't been relevant in the past 3 years.
No, and he won't be with the
And-
Chiefs. He'll sit
yeah.
on the bench. It's the
He's a
Fresh
20
Prince of Hell Air show now,
Right.
buddy.
He's been in the league for 8 years. He's an old running back. Not everybody's Frank Gore and can do it
And
till
it's
you're
the thing-
80.
That's not the thing with the Cowboys. That's a good comparison, but it's not like contract issues either. I mean,
Right.
they all got paid.
Here's
They're just
one
not
more-
producing.
Martavis
Yeah.
Bryant and Juju.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
just the point is, they stopped wanting to work. They lost their spot. Now, I think the Cowboys just got to find, all right, if these guys don't want to put in the work on defense, let's replace them.
I totally agree with you.
They're good players, but they're not working.
Yeah.
They're expecting it. They're playing in the biggest, well, formerly the best stadium in the NFL. Playing in the football capital of the world is what they're supposed to be.
I mean, and you talk about football.
Yeah.
But the football capital of the world is Canton, Ohio. Just gotta.
Yeah.
The two biggest things in Texas are football and prison. I mean,
Right.
I mean,
Yes, I did get
and you talk about.
And your running back should be in one of them.
I agree with that on numerous occasions.
Yeah, he's had a few incidents.
But they just stand their own way. I mean,
Yeah.
and they're the Yankees of football, and
They
we
suck.
expect them to be good.
You got the money, you got the place,
like
you
every
got
now
the
and then.
city. You know,
Every couple seasons, they won like
9
11,
games.
12, 13 games, and we're thinking they're going good in the playoffs, and they get bounced in the first or second round. I just don't. They got to get it together. They have to show the effort, and I don't like comments like that after games that they're just saying, oh, well, we can't go all on give it our all on every play. Well, that's what you're supposed to do.
Fine, then I'll find the guy that
That's
can.
what you're supposed to do.
Right. It's excuses, and every team can write a million excuses. I can give you a million excuses for the Browns. They didn't have Chubb, bruh. Baker was injured. We're missing a lot of guys on defense. Doesn't matter. Next guy has to step up. You got drafted. You're in the NFL. Go do your job.
That's the end of my rant.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping they win tonight, and I think they should win, and they have no business losing. I don't think.
Right.
But
I think that's gonna wrap up NFL.
Yeah. I was about
All
to
right.
say.
Final thing we got going on today: college football, baby. So we got the Big Ten coming for the first week of
It's
college
game week,
football.
Mac.
It's game week. What are some matchups you guys are looking forward to? Obviously, Penn State, Indiana.
I'm kind of looking
Buckeyes
forward to.
versus
I'm just
Nebraska.
looking forward to it being back.
I'm kind of looking forward to Michigan, Minnesota. I think that's gonna be a good one.
That'll be a good one, yeah, for sure. That'll be one of the top games, I think.
I'll be able to watch them.
What other Big Ten games are there? So Ohio State's on Nebraska. You said.
Ohio State's on Nebraska, Penn State, Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois. Well, Illinois put off the huge upset last year
yeah.
against the Badgers.
Yeah,
That'll be
good,
fun. I don't have them all written down.
Just trying to think of the ones off the top of my head, because I did see the one for Michigan, Minnesota. I think it's gonna be a good one, but like you said, just excited to have it back. I mean, I was, the beginning of the first couple games of the season when I was watching these teams, like I was just kind of a bummer because
Yeah.
I was excited to have it back, but I was like, you know what, my team's not playing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
part
was the
of
same
me was
way.
just like, yeah, but no.
When Penn State was, when they played, I used to watch all the other teams because I'd think, we might play this team in like a bowl game or whatever, and I used to watch them all the time. But now it's like, they're not playing. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm glad to have them back.
All right, I got the Big Ten schedule here. Rutgers, Michigan State, Iowa, Purdue. That'll be good, and then Maryland, Northwestern.
Iowa, Purdue. That'd be a good
Maryland, Northwestern. Watch Maryland pull something out there. We don't know what Northwestern's going to look like. Northwestern's up and down every single season.
Yes.
They're an all or nothing type team. I mean, that's just kind of the way that university is. It's just they're not a football program. If they get the guys to do it one year, they're gonna make a run. Yeah,
they're all right in basketball too, but
right.
Not really.
Their focus there isn't sports, and they've made that clear before.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, they have one of the better GPAs in the conference too. So.
Mm-hmm.
That Iowa Purdue one, I like that one. Like you were saying,
Iowa, Purdue.
two hard
Yeah.
styles.
The
hard
two
working
teams that
styles.
have pulled off the upsets against Ohio State, yeah.
That too.
But I mean, that just shows those guys got a lot of heart on those two units. So
Yes.
we'll be interested to see how both of those teams look because they got both missing a few guys, a lot of new guys this year,
A lot of good
and
players.
you can't lose.
Yeah.
With an 8-game season, you can't lose.
You can.
A lot of good players coming out of both of those schools. Drew Brees, of course, with Purdue, and Iowa. Every tight end.
Every good tight end in the NFL.
Yeah.
George Kittle, Hawkinson,
Right.
Fant. I mean,
Bringing on some good guys.
Yeah, but should have some good ones. I think we just get right into it with our top 12.
Let's do it.
Top 12 picks.
And just so everybody knows, we don't know what everybody's looks like.
Well, Matt and
I did see Matt's,
I
but
saw
I don't know
yours.
what yours looks
I
like.
saw yours and his, and he
Yeah.
saw mine and
obviously I was the one that put it all together. So the way this was based off of every position, the three of us voted. We each gave our top 12 teams. Those were all based off a point system. First place received 30 points from each. Every vote for first place was a 30-point vote. So if we all voted the same team for first place, they would receive a total of 90 points. And it was based on that going all the way down. So without further ado,
Let's do it.
12 through 9. Number 12, BYU. BYU last week took on Houston, won that one 43-26. Number 11, Cincinnati. Cincinnati had the bye week, but they've looked impressive on the season. I think we all agreed that. We all had them up there pretty well. Number 10, Miami U. I actually didn't have them in my top 12, but both of you guys did. They took the loss to...
Wait, I'm sorry. This is 10, correct?
Yeah, this is 10. To Miami. They took a loss, a bad one.
To
God, now my brain's
Clemson.
going blank. Yeah, to Clemson, who's looking really good. You'll see where we have them. I didn't have them in my top 12 though. I thought they underperformed. I thought they were slacking a little bit. They took on Pitt last week, won that 31-19. All right, I like Pitt. I thought Pitt maybe they don't pull off the upset.
I just put Miami ahead of. I didn't think Cincinnati had a strong enough schedule, so I just put Miami ahead of them.
That's kind of difficult
Yeah.
when we're talking about the American Conference,
Yeah.
just because of where they're located.
Yeah.
Now, number 9, Florida. They've had back-to-back weeks off. They have another one off next week. There's been some COVID issues down there. Kyle Trask is looking like a Heisman quarterback.
Oh, definitely.
Kyle Pitts is looking like potentially the best tight end wide receiver in college football. They got a lot of promise. They did lose, but they look like a really solid team. And depending on what happens with Georgia and the Dogs moving forward, they might control the SEC East going into the playoffs. Now, 8 through 5. Coming in at number 8, Texas A&M. They took down Mississippi State last week, 28-14. We've all been pretty high on them so far. They look really good. You guys got any thoughts on those guys?
On A&M,
I mean, they are looking good. I mean, it's about. I mean, Jimbo Fisher finally has them playing, up to their.
yeah.
Up to
Jimbo
what they were
Fisher
hoping for.
bringing
Kellen Mond looks like the
Yeah.
quarterback we've been
Yeah.
looking for the past
Jimbo
few seasons.
Fisher bringing what he brought to Florida State to Texas. Now I like that. I like what he's doing.
Now, number 7, your guys' team, Penn State. We actually all had them unanimously at number 7.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to rank them. They haven't played yet, but they're going to play this weekend. That'll probably affect their rankings. Expect a lot of shake-up with Big Ten teams.
Yeah.
I mean,
And not just our top 12,
Yeah.
We're
but
missing,
the AP polls, all of those.
Right.
We're gonna miss one of our best defensive players.
Micah
probably
Parsons.
Micah Parsons.
That's going to be
that.
huge. How does that
That's gonna
affect
be
your
huge.
defense? He's your leader. He's your
I
captain.
would say
Does that happen?
next man up. I
Right.
mean, we've been doing that for years.
Right.
So
I don't
But
want
it's
to
always
still
interesting
got-
to see.
we still got Fryermuth coming back. We got our running backs coming back.
Good running core
No
they have.
Kane
Right.
back there.
running back. before they have it.
Clifford's decent. He's good enough to get the
It's
job
interesting
done.
to see, are you guys going to have to rebuild or reload? That's always the question going into the next season.
I never
We know
think
Ohio
re-
State's been
reload.
Ohio State's
never
been
think-
reloading for a few years
Yeah.
now.
I never think we'll ever truly rebuild.
Well, no,
understand
you have
that,
the
but
down year or
the thing
whatever.
with-
Trying to rebuild those young guys and put
Yeah.
them up to that level.
The thing with Parsons, I don't want to get too far into this because I keep going with the rankings, but with Parsons, it's going to show when they play against Ohio State,
Yeah.
obviously, because they do
Yeah.
bow at that. But
Yeah.
Especially linebackers against Ohio State has been Penn State's key to success, being able to slow down the run game.
yeah,
We'll talk about that a little bit more
as it comes.
as it comes down the line. Number 6, the only Big 12 team featured in this, Oklahoma State. The only undefeated team left on the ballot for the Big 12. If they lose, you can pretty much wipe any chance the Big 12 has of making the playoffs.
They've just been bad this year.
They've just been bad. They do take on Iowa State this coming Saturday, 3:30 on Fox. That should be a good one. That's going to tell probably who the best team in the Big 12 is. If they take care of business, probably maybe have them jump up ahead of our number 5 team, Notre Dame. I didn't have them this high. You guys both did. They took on Louisville last week, won that 12-7. I haven't been impressed by any performance they've had. I thought they've been subpar. I had them back at 7, just based on the fact that they're in the ACC. They're winning it. They're winning it pretty well. Besides Clemson, which is to be expected, we knew Notre Dame was going to be good. They're undefeated. They're up there.
They're almost always undefeated too. So
Right. Now we go one by one. Coming in at number 4, Georgia. They took the loss last week to Bama, 41-24. They had the big lead early. I told you guys they were going to lose by 20. They almost won it by 20.
Almost won.
Then it got flipped upside on their head, and they
Very
ended up
quickly,
losing by
yeah.
nearly. They lost by 17 points in that one. They're still a good team, though.
Yeah.
They just blew a late lead, which seems to happen for Georgia. But they're going up against Nick Saban, I mean, you take it as it is. Nick Saban doesn't lose to the SEC East. Now, number 3. The Ohio State University. We all had them unanimous number 3. Potentially moving up eventually as the Big Ten moves along. I mean, we're still yet to see them play. That'll come into effect probably a little bit
You
later.
think they would stay around that same spot?
Right around. That's normally where they're
Or-
sitting.
yeah.
They're normally a top 3 team.
Yeah.
That's what we expect. That's what all the preseason polls were talking about. They're expected to win the Big Ten. That doesn't mean they're not going to get challenged because Penn State still exists.
Yep.
Michigan still exists. One loss can blow your entire season with an 8-game
Especially
season.
with 8 game and it
If-
does with a
If
full-
Ohio State slips up like they normally do during the season, obviously not last year, had the 12-0, was great. But if you have that one slip up this year, you're out. And that goes for Penn State,
That's
Michigan,
anybody in the Big Ten,
Right.
especially.
then depending on the scheduling, Wisconsin, Minnesota, there's a lot of teams that want to try and put in their hat as I'm the top dog now. Ohio State it still goes through Ohio State. And you guys being Penn State fans can probably still admit
It
the
does.
Big Ten runs through Columbus
Especially the last couple
until
years.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
Now, number 2, this is where it gets interesting. There's pretty much 2 teams left that everyone's thinking, we haven't put Bama anywhere, we haven't put Clemson anywhere. Number 2, Alabama. We all had them unanimous number 2. They played great, obviously won that one 41-24, had the big comeback. Nick Saban's great coach, one of the best of all time. Has the most wins against top 5 opponents in all of NCAA history. I think he's at 25. I think
the
second
stat-
place is 18th, and third is Woody Hayes with 15th.
I think the stat you were talking about earlier with, you had him not losing the game against SEC East teams.
Yeah.
I think it's been like
Yeah, like
3,000
3 years.
days or something like that.
3,665 days or
Yeah,
something.
so that's quite a long
It's
time.
insane. They look good going forward. I'm trying to see. Alabama's taking on Tennessee. Might be a little bit of a test against them.
Tennessee's
But I
getting
mean, they
better.
took care of Georgia.
Yeah.
I expect them to take care of Tennessee. They should be sitting here at number 2 next week. That depends on how the number 1 team performs. Clemson, unanimous number 1, received all 90 points from us. Taking on Syracuse this week. Should be easy. We should see them right here next week.
And then the Georgia Tech game, I mean, they just blew them out. There was
Right,
wasn't even a
73-7 for you guys. That's a full view of our top 12 right there. Obviously, top 4 teams make it to the playoffs. They don't care about what our top 4 looks like, but that's what we think is our top 4 going into this week. Obviously, this will be an updated week to week going out on our Twitter page as well on Tuesdays at the simultaneous time of the release of the show. But if we want to down who's going to be facing who going up to this weekend, we got BYU taking on Texas State. Big matchup next one, Cincinnati, SMU. Both teams undefeated. Probably determines the American who's going to be sitting in that top 12 coming next week.
Yeah, you can say those are probably 2 best teams in the
Right.
American.
That's 9 p.m. on ESPN2. Then we have Miami U taking on Virginia at 8. Texas A&M and Florida both have the bye weeks. Penn State taking on Indiana, 3:30 FS1. Also on 3:30, Oklahoma State taking on Iowa State. That's a huge one for the Big 12. Notre Dame Pitt, potential upset, especially with how Notre Dame's been playing. That's also 3:30 on ABC.
That's somewhat of a rivalry, too.
Right, Bama, Tennessee, 3:30 CBS. The noon games, Clemson, Syracuse, 12 on the ACC Network. And then for Fox, the big noon kickoff, Ohio State, Nebraska. That is the college football rundown. This is going to be our week-to-week segment. Obviously, we're going to start talking a lot more college football. It's going to take over basically the NBA's 30-minute segment that we normally have.
Especially with our teams getting underway.
Right, with our teams getting underway, it's going to give us a lot more to talk about. Depending also, Pac-12 should be coming up here shortly. Oregon, pretty much the only preseason top 25 team, was not featured in 2 out of the 3 top 12s from us. I had them sitting at number 10 or 11. Neither one of you guys had them
I kind of
featured.
wanted to move them up a little bit, but
Depending on how, if once they get underway in the next few weeks, we might see them pop up in there. That also depends on what these other teams in the top 12 do.
when's the Pac-12 going to be starting?
I want to say
Next couple weeks or something?
Yeah, it should be shortly.
Yeah.
I want to say maybe November 8th.
Yeah, like
They have a
somewhere in
super
mid-November.
condensed schedule.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a it's not no more marathons. This is all a sprint.
Yep.
It's race to the finish line. Well, I think we have an award to hand out as we do every week. So without any further ado, this week's Meathead of the Week.
So I had a couple candidates for this, but ultimately I picked Kirk Cousins for this one, and here's why. Kirk Cousins is the first player with 0 touchdowns and 3 interceptions and a half this season. Entering yesterday, the Falcons, who the Vikings played, had allowed the highest total quarterback rating, which was 81.8 in the NFL, with 15 passing touchdowns to just 2 interceptions, and had not held the opponent scoreless in the half. Well, the Falcons led 20-0 at halftime. So
not being able to get it done against
yeah,
when he was
Kirk Cousins has.
Kirk Cousins is such an up
Yeah.
and down performer. What time was that game
Yeah.
yesterday?
I think it was 1 o'clock.
I think it was
wasn't
1
Okay.
o'clock. Yeah.
I was gonna say because I know he's like the worst primetime performer in their history.
Yeah.
I
He's,
think it was between I think it was last season they popped up a stat.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was prime time or Monday nights. He was like 0 for 24 in his career.
Yeah.
They always hyped him up when Minnesota got him, and I don't really think he was all that with the Washington team.
They're a good team last year.
Yeah, they were all right.
I mean,
I don't.
Then you go a few
Then you
years
play
back,
San
they had
Fran,
the
you killed the
Minneapolis Miracle.
Yeah, with Case Keenum.
Yeah.
And Stefanski.
Yeah. Browns hoping for a little bit of a miracle of their own too.
Yeah. So
So that should be.
So that's your meathead of the week, not Case Keenum, Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
Now, final segment, casual sports report, games of the week, as picked on by myself, Alec Caberna. Games of the week, strap in, we got a whole set of them. You guys are going to be busy this weekend. 8 p.m. on the Big Ten Network, Friday night, Illinois and Wisconsin kick off the Big Ten season. I put this one here. Illinois pulled off the upset. We don't expect to see them do it again. But first game for the Big Ten, anything can happen. Next one up, at noon on ESPN Saturday, number 23 NC State taking on number 14 UNC. Expect a good match. Off the big loss, the upset. Next one up, 3:30 p.m. on ESPN, number 17 Iowa State taking on number 6 Oklahoma State. Then at 7:30 on ABC, number 18 Michigan taking on number 21 Minnesota. Then to wrap up the Saturday games for the college football, number 11 Cincinnati takes on number 16 SMU, 9 p.m. on ESPN2. Then obviously we got the World Series coming in this week. Game 1 starts Tuesday, a little bit after this show will come out. Game 2 on Wednesday, Game 3 on Friday, Game 4 on Saturday, Game 5 on Sunday, Game 6 on Tuesday, and Game 7, if needed, on Wednesday. Obviously, World Series, everybody's got to watch it. Biggest thing going on in sports right now. We don't expect their viewership to touch the NFL because college football runs the country anymore. But now NFL, I only got 2 of them. These ones should be good ones. 1 p.m. on CBS, the Steelers taking on the Titans in Tennessee. And then following that, late game, 9:20 on NBC, the 4-2 Buccaneers going into Las Vegas to take on the 3-2 Raiders.
That's a good one.
Can the Raiders pull off another upset? We're going to have to wait and see. But that is the show. That's what we got for you. As always, I'm Al Caberna.
I'm like Wolfgang.
And I am Matt Morrison.
This was the Casual Sports Podcast. We hope you all enjoyed. We'll be back next week. More sports, more football. You got it here.